Hey everyone! So a lot of my frugal budgeting friends have told their Dave Ramsey story, and so I thought it'd be fun to tell mine today. I think I have quite an entertaining one. And as with all good Dave Ramsey stories, it starts before you met Dave Ramsey, and that is definitely the way it is with me. So my story begins when I'm 18, and I decide without any money that I'm going to go to a private East Coast university, right? This sounds like a terrific idea. So I wake up in 1999 upon graduation, living in one of the most expensive cities in the United States. I'm living in Washington, D.C., and I have $29,000 in student loan debt. So I was in the early 2000s in an absolute mess. And upon graduation, I took my first job. It was a wonderful job as a nanny working in Washington. I lived with a bunch of roommates as I was trying to do this process of get out of debt. I had been there for about a year and a half when I got a lead for a job in my field. I was a communication major and I wanted to work in radio, and here was a lead in radio, thanks to my would-be future father-in-law. Thank you for that. Working for WAVA Radio in Washington, making $24,000 a year. And I was the promotion director. I was in charge of station events and concerts. And I was in my third year getting out of debt when Dave came on our radio station. And so we had an event with him. Back then, Dave Ramsey's events were in smaller venues. He was in a church, a local church. And I remember going to that event and for the first time hearing the baby steps. And they were all clicking with me. I had already been through a major family emergency where I had actually needed $1,000 to get to the funeral. So I had that money stashed away. I had a little over $1,000, and I was in, of course, baby step 2. Working the process of getting out of debt. And everything he's saying was resonating with me. Debt stinks, right? I got that. But one thing that he said that day I will never forget, and I don't know why my 25-year-old ears were so attentive to this, but I remember hearing for the first time him talk about the 15-year fixed rate mortgage. Once again, I was in no place to be buying a home, but he just caught my attention because I was transfixed with this idea that there was a mortgage product where you could get out of debt in 15 years. I just didn't know such a thing could exist. And I thought, wow, maybe you don't have to spend your whole life in debt. And I thought this was amazing. Of course, I had no idea what the fixed rate part meant, but I made a mental note, 15-year fix that day. So fast forward 1 year, I'm 26 years old. I'm still working at the radio station. And I do it. I get out of debt. It was an absolutely thrilling day. I will never forget it. I got high fives all over the office because they all knew I was going through the process, and it was just a thrilling day. And it was just a wild coincidence that right in that time period, the Total Money Makeover was coming out. And Dave was coming through our area doing a book signing tour. And we had an event with him to welcome this new book. And we had lunch outside with Dave. I believe we were in Baltimore for this book signing. We were eating al fresco outside on this really long table. And I remember in the parking lot was parked his giant tour bus. He was like a rock star. There's a massive picture of Dave in his Total Money Makeover book. It was in the parking lot, and I'm sitting across from Dave, and there's the big picture of Dave, and here's Dave, and his whole team was there, and our sales team was there, and our general manager was there, and it was just a really exciting time because I was sitting right across from Dave, and I told him, I'm debt free, and I got a high five from him. I was so excited, and I was really excited also to tell him that I had just gotten engaged, and I was so excited to begin marriage without any debt at all. And I remember he said something really funny. He said, now, you're not going to be a princess with this wedding, are you? And I said, no, it's going to be a princess-free wedding. I'm going to keep it simple. And that's what I did. And so it was just a thrilling thing to share with him that day. So fast forward a couple more years, we left that area. My husband and I went through grad school, and now we had officially in 2008, my husband got his first big real job. This was absolutely thrilling. And it was the first time that we were actually in a position to be able to buy a house. And so always running through the rat wheel of my brain is still this idea, 15-year fixed. And I still didn't know what the fixed part meant. But we were just weeks away from walking into a mortgage lender when the fall of 2008 hit. And all over the news were the fact that millions of Americans were falling into foreclosure because of adjustable rate mortgages. And this light bulb somewhere in the fall of 2008 went on, and I got it. That's why you need a fixed rate mortgage. You don't want an adjustable rate mortgage that could throw you into foreclosure. And I just got it. And I went into that mortgage company that fall going 15-year fixed. If I don't get a 15-year fixed, I'm out of here, right? And they were like, you can have a 15-year fixed. It's not a big deal. And I was like, oh, that was easier than I thought. But it was just unbelievable because here's my house. It's 8 years later. It's 2016 now. And my husband and I are only one more year away from being mortgage free. And I just cannot believe it. And if I could talk to Dave, if he could see this video one day, I would tell him this. Dave, thank you so much. Everything that you taught me, that product that you introduced me to, the 15-year fixed rate mortgage, it's totally revolutionized my family's future. And I am so grateful that I met you all those years ago and learned that information when I was young. Thank you so much. And I am truly better than I deserve because I met Dave all those years ago. And so I hope you are too. And this finger means that we are going to bounce.